When I go for a run today, my Fitbit is measuring my heartbeat. At night, I'd see how many steps I have taken, and in the morning, I can see on my app if I had a good sleep. This kind of monitoring the body and our health is nowadays quite normal, isn't it? And this topic concerns us in the mechanical industry too. Being a machine operator, it is very important to see what's going on in my machine. If I can monitor my machine, I can react very, very quickly if something happens, and though I can reduce the downtimes. And as a machine builder, the question here is, what kind of technology can I use in my machine? How complex is it, and how much does it cost? That's exactly what we want to discuss today in our webcast, Condition Monitoring. And this is a webcast from the series From Trend to Reality, discussing all the trends you are facing nowadays and discussing real solutions. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to this webcast. My name is Anna Brunzel and I work for Lenze as a Communications Manager Systems. I'm so happy to welcome today two guests. This is Patrick Bruder and Klaus Nebor. Patrick is working at Lenze and is a Business Development Manager Systems. And Klaus Nebor, he is with Lenze and works for the Lenze Digital Business Unit and is the leader there. Klaus, would you like to introduce yourself? What's your job role within Lenze exactly in the digital world?
Yeah, thanks for having me here and for the invitation, and happy to share some insights and my view on the topic. So I'm the digital guy here in this group. So I was building software and developing software for the past 30 years now, and I'm running a business for configurators for 20 years, Anchorway. And my responsibility here is to help Lenze to grow the digital business. So, and we see nowadays, and this is part of the topic today, what happens if we combine hardware and software together and create really cool value.
So I'm Patrick Bruder, Business Development Manager Automation here at Lenze. And together with the Lenze team, we take the Industry 4.0 topics and bring their concept solutions then back to the machine builder to make their great solutions for them.
So without further ado, let's start. During the webcast, you have the possibility to raise your question directly in the chat, and we have some dedicated time for them and we'll respond to them in the webcast. So, talking about condition monitoring, we are facing all these buzzwords, predictive maintenance, condition monitoring, etc. Let's start with that, Patrick. What's the distinction here?
Yeah, I think it's important to clarify what is the difference between that one. So, condition monitoring gives you the actual status of the machine, the actual condition of the machine. Is it in a good condition, bad condition? But that's the actual thing. With predictive maintenance, you go a step ahead. That means you say, okay, if you run this machine in this condition quite longer, then you can have a damage or completely a failure or an unplanned standstill. So this is the big difference between these topics. And to make predictive maintenance, you have to do at first condition monitoring. And today we want to talk about condition monitoring, the first step into this direction.
Mm-hmm. So talking about this first step, Klaus, how does it work?
Yeah, it starts right away with the question an OEM machine builder has. Typically, the machine builder has quite some knowledge about the process. He builds machines for to support packaging solutions or whatever. So he knows way more about the process than we do as Lenze. So we are automation company. And it starts with that question. So what does service people want to know from a machine? And typically they have a good understanding on what criteria or what information they're looking for. And what we try to achieve is to automate this process of gathering information and to help to make better decisions. So in the end, it's not software because we do software, and it's always to grow a business and to drive business. And that is the major key. How can condition monitoring help to grow your business, and what kind of information you're looking for and insights to take the right actions? And what we are doing, maybe Patrick, you can start. What kind of what ways we have?
Yeah. So important is, as Klaas mentioned, to find out what is the weak point of the machine, where I want to see the condition of the machine. And it can be in the easiest way very simple. You have only one value, for example, the temperature. You observe that one, you have some limits, and it can be very easy. So this can be the first steps. And then it becomes a bit more complicated maybe, because the systems are not so easy anymore today. And there we have, or typically you have then two approaches. One is the model-based approach. We can see it on our screen now. So we have on the left side this model-driven approach. That means you have really an idea how the system looks like, and you can explain it or show it in a formula. So you have, for example, the torque. So you know you have some certain friction in the system, and you can calculate that one. That means at the end you have a formula. You compare it with the real data. That means during the machine is running, you compare these two values, the calculated value, what you expect, and the real value. And then you can see there any anomalies, that mean the difference between. And then the second step is to see, okay, what is the root cause of this failure? So that you see not only, okay, there's something wrong, that you really say, okay, I have to improve this part, or I have to maintain this part. A second approach is, what you can see here as well, is the data-driven approach. Here you don't have a clear understanding of the system, a complex system, and you see it as a kind of a black box. And you have to teach this black box. That means you train that one, so with good and bad condition, and the system is learning itself and to interpret this data. And then again, you have the same, compare it with the live data, and you have there the difference. And then detect the root causes. And what you can see on the picture here again, it can be very close to the machine, very simple on the machine. You can run it on the PLC or on the edge device, and you can run there these algorithms, or you can do it in the cloud. Maybe, Klaas, you can add there something.
Yeah, right. As Patrick always say, you have two dimensions to convert data into information: model-driven, data-driven. And the second part is to use these insights and to drive something. And both you can do on the shop floor in the factory. You can collect the data and maybe interpret it and convert it to information, and then use it on the factory side, maybe integrate it into an MES system or something like that. And on the other hand, you can leverage cloud technology, cloud computing, to use different methods to convert data into information. That's one opportunity you have. And on the other hand, you can use cloud technology to create to drive other systems. So to have a connectivity, for instance, to your CRM system or whatever. So to take the right actions and to drive something. Also, maybe on the cloud side, you have the chance to integrate even more data. So when you have multiple factories and you want to benchmark factories, for instance, OEE reports or something like that, then you can use additional data and combine it and get even more insights from it.
One point I want to add here, an important point from the Lenze approach is that we use the data what we already have. That means we don't need, maybe in the best case, any additional sensors. So we have quite a lot of information already inside of our drives. We are using that one. So no additional sensors, no additional hardware, using the data what we have and creating the information out of that one.
Mm-hmm. And to get a better understanding, would you mind to share an example?
Yeah, so we have done our showcase, what we can see here. It was presented last year on the SPS the first time. And we can here simulate different things. For example, detecting different weights, what we are lifting here. Or we can simulate failures on the belt tension, or we can add there some additional friction. And we have quite some experience in different industries like intralogistics. And for example, for the belt tension, we have one very, I would say, simple and lean idea or concept. So that means we have a library. It's even based on data-driven model, and we can run it on the PLC. And so it's a very small solution. You don't need any details about the algorithm behind. So this is all capsuled in this function block. And you can run it on the PLC and you get only then some traffic lights, some indicators in which condition the machine is. So it can be very, very simple. And even if it's a bit more complex, we can run it on our new controller, for example, the C750, because it's an edge device and a PLC in one housing. So we have then PC and the PLC. So for some of these algorithms, we can use then the PC side and calculate there the things. And then for sure, we can push it into the cloud, but there again, back to you, Klaas.
Yeah, this was a very interesting case we had on the fair. So it shows every dimension we just discussed. So doing things database or model based. And on the end, you see in the upper left, there's a digital twin. So this is just a demo case where to start a discussion what could be a possible value to the machine builder. So when you get immediately response on the virtual twin, what went wrong and what part of the machine had a failure and what is the current condition of the machine. So this maybe allows us to tell different stories and to engage with customers, so that machine builders can engage with their customers in a totally new way. And again, this is done in a cloud base, and it doesn't matter if it's whether it's a private cloud or a public cloud. Of course, we offer some Lenze services in the Lenze public cloud. But we can integrate also private clouds to create such applications, or even apps on the smartphone. So I can see the condition on my machine right on my smartphone right away.
You can see here perfectly the capabilities of the Lenze solution. Very small solution running on the PLC, no big overhead or at least additional work what you to do. But we have even the experience and the experts making the big solution even in the cloud if necessary. Yeah.
And coming from the cloud to the PLC, how does it work exactly?
In our portfolio we have an IET gateway, the X500, which is a small box, not bigger than a switch, and normally the machine has a switch anyway, so it's a small box where you can set up connectivity from a machine to our cloud. Within a couple of minutes. It's just 5 easy steps to connect your machines, and then you can set up your dashboards, for instance, to read the first data and to visualize the first data in minutes. It just needs an OPC UA server, so it works well with our PLCs. But if you have an OPC UA server, you can propagate the data. It allows us also to pre-aggregate data on the machine, so that the frequency of the data, you can drill it down and reduce it to, say, you want the average value every 5 minutes or so, so that you don't have to push all the data, but already pre-aggregated data. So setting up this is pretty easy, and it's part of our portfolio.
Mm-hmm. I see that we have first questions in the chat, and cool. I think it's a good time for that, what you just said. The question is, the theory is great. Is this for the future or now? How much of this can Lenze provide today? Is it just a showcase or reality?
So then I will start. I would say the small solutions we already can provide. Because this is something kind of out of the box. So we have there already some libraries, templates, or our fast components where we can directly use. But at first we need the understanding of the machine. And then it depends if this is fitting, or if a standard is fitting to this machine, or if we need a kind of a project to find out, okay, what to do and how to calculate or finding out the anomalies. So you can start now, very small, or we can create a project.
Yeah, I think the biggest point here is, and I personally, I think that's kind of USP in the market from a Lenze perspective, that as you see, there are many topics and many different topics you see when you see condition monitoring end to end. You have some things on the PLC. You have to find the right data. You have to the connectivity topic, cloud topics, apps, and stuff like that into system integration. So how many vendors you normally need to implement such an end-to-end story. And the good thing is, and that you can do it with Lenze as one partner. So we have all the the experts and the teams and the ability to execute. We have data scientists, we have software engineers, we have cloud experts, security experts. So you can start right away. What my advice would be, start small, scale up, and the biggest advice would be get your feet wet. So try it out. It's not that complicated. As I said, setting up an X500 box, for instance, is a question of a couple of minutes. And then you get your first insights, and normally this arises it's a kind of ignition when you see the first data and information. You say, that is the way how it contributes to my business, and it starts a dialogue, and that's necessarily the good point.
And it's important to start now, because you have to gain experience, and it takes a while. So you start small and scale it up then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the starting now is triggering some question. From technology point of view, you clarified a lot. What kind of know-how expertise do I need to have in-house as an OEM?
Yeah, so I would say my self-understanding here is that we are complementary to our customers. So whatever they bring to the table, they bring to the table. So if they want to develop apps, they can develop apps. If they have experience in AI and know how to set up an AI model or to train an AI model, they can do it. The good news is what is really the basic thing they need. They need to know their business and the problems or the challenges they have, and starting with a question, and then we can start a dialogue and find the right solution that fits to their business model and to their need, and improves their business.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, so if you don't have any detailed knowledge at the moment regarding neural networks and all this AI stuff, at least we have the competence, and it's the problem of the OEM. We can find out what is helping you and in which step we can support on you, but we have the complete range of expertise.
Mm-hmm. So to really wrap it up, if we highlight now what's in for me as an OEM and as an end user, where are the big benefits and values?
Yeah, so for the end user, typically we are talking about OEE is one big point, and with condition monitoring, I support that one. So I increase the OEE because I increase the availability of the machine, because I have no unplanned standstill. So I directly see, okay, there's something wrong. I can plan on the next shift or whatever. When there is a break of the machine, I can start to maintain the machine, and the machine is running smoother. I can produce 100% and so on. So this is one point. And then for sure, I can plan the maintenance. So I don't have to do it every half a year. I can do it when there is the wear of the machine. And this again saves some costs. So this was more or less for the end user. Maybe for OEM, you can add something.
For OEM, especially I guess it is the base point or starting point, thinking about new service models and a different way of improving customer engagement. That's one point. So because condition monitoring runs 24/7, and you get a lot of data and get a lot of information, and maybe you can speed up the support or reduce traveling costs or whatever. So it helps you to offer a better service. Maybe we together find a way to build up a differentiator for our customers within their market, so they have a new offering which helps us to differentiate. But for OEM, there's another thing which doesn't comes right away to your mind when you think about condition monitoring, because condition monitoring runs 24/7, and you save the data. Over the time, you have a lot of time-based data, historical data on how your machines performed in the field. So, and this is a great source of improving your machines. So when you have information on how they performed in real life. So it's a base of creating a better version 2.0 of your product.
Mm-hmm. And from your experience nowadays, when you talk to customers, what are your experience? What are they fearing? What are their questions? How open are they to these new systems?
Maybe I start. the whole topic of IoT, and especially condition monitoring, and when it comes to machine learning and stuff like that, that's not a major market. So where we have already a bunch of products available in the market. It's a new field for people, and especially I'm doing IT for now 30-40 years, and most of the things are for me very natural, but for most machine builders, it's a whole new field, and therefore start right away and get your feet wet. People were surprised on the fair when we had talks. How much we already know as Lenze and what we can bring to the table, not only bits and pieces, but a whole story, and we can talk end to end with customers. That surprised many people, and I was quite happy to see that.
Yeah, and you don't have, as a customer, don't be afraid of these big topics like artificial intelligence. It's a big word, yeah. But it's important that you understand what is the problem on your machine. And then together with our experts, data analysts and so on, we can support there. So quite often it's because of these new things coming, neural network and so on, completely new field. But this is then the reason where we are coming into the game and can solve the problem together with the customer.
We have another question. Let me just check. AI sounds expensive. Is it more for big machine builders?
So then I will start.
Yeah.
Because as I mentioned before, the idea is where it's possible for standard application to create small lean solutions. So that means you don't need to build up big knowledge in artificial intelligence. So we make some libraries, and you have only to connect it somehow to your machine. You can run it, and you can directly use then kind of condition monitoring. And if this is fitting, then it's, I would say, very simple because you don't have to touch this one. For the other topics, then we are kind of a project if there is something completely new. And then again, we are talking about data scientists and algorithms, which are then maybe ending up on an edge device or in the cloud again.
Yeah, and on the cloud, it doesn't take much to start right away. As I said, we do offerings as a software as a service. So you don't have to set up your own data center, for instance, before you can start with cloud computing. So with data science, we offer this as a starting point right away as a service, and so you you pay for what you are using. So you can start right away, and it's very easy. And this would be also the advice to start very small and to learn things step by step. Always take the baby steps first, and then see what's happening. And it's not that expensive to start. And
then for sure it's something to compare what is the risk, what I will have, and what is at the moment the what I have to do to reduce this risk. And then we have to find then the balance that it really is at the end a benefit for everybody.
And if I'm listening to that as an OEM and I don't have my systems with Lenze, is it possible to work with this condition monitoring approach with Lenze too?
So for sure, these small solutions are dedicated somehow to our products because we know our products best. We know which kind of data we can bring there out. But for sure, if there are third-party components, we have to figure out what kind of data are needed, which kind of data I get out of these devices. Can I run the same algorithms, what to do there? So we are not a closed system, we are open, but for sure at the end we are a solution or system provider, and we want to bring the complete system to the customer, because then you have the complete benefit of the whole system.
Yeah, this is also true for the cloud side. So when it's more to the product side or start right away, then we offer services based on our Lenze cloud. But we also open if a customer has already made a decision to leverage from one of the big cloud vendors and uses only that cloud, so we can integrate to that. And also we're using standards like OPC UA for communication, for instance, or MQTT with defined protocols, or messages. So that's one way. But of course, also from a system perspective, we at Lenze, we work that our components play well together, and they play best together, better than, of course, with components from other vendors. So.
Mm-hmm. One last question here is, what kind of know-how do I need to have in-house as OEM? I think that bothers a lot of OEMs, as this is quite a new technology, and especially the AI approach. So what kind of know-how do I have to have in-house?
What, you want to say something?
You can start, or I
can. No,
okay.
go ahead.
So typically I would say in the first step, you need a clear understanding of your machine, and typically you have that one, and bring the problem to us. And then we can build up with our knowledge, bring so the AI experts to you. And then you are, as I mentioned before, you gain the experience. And you start with the small things, then you see, okay, what can you do here? And then build it up, because then you see, okay, this is how it works. So your people are more trained, what can be done, and then you come to the next step. So it's again something learning by doing at the end. But with our experts supporting you for the artificial intelligence and your expertise in the machine, the process and the behavior of the machine, and we bring this together. So don't be afraid on this AI topic if you want to start.
Yeah, I would say if your expectation is that you get a catalog with 4 condition monitoring products and you pick one, then we are the wrong partner maybe. But if you're looking for somebody who's able and capable and has the ability to execute and all the expertise to grow your business, then we are the right partner. But you need that kind of spirit to try things out, to see us as the partner, explaining your business model and have a discussion on how we can contribute to your business model and how we can leverage technology to grow your business. As I say, to take a metaphor, it's like a good soup. So all the good news is all the ingredients are already there. So we don't have to invent things really. So they are already on the market, and we have some good recipes. But one expertise we have, we are great cooks. So if you're looking for special flavor, then we can find your soup and we can cook them. But we do it in a partnership and together with you.
Mm-hmm. What a good ending, excellent. The soup metaphor. So I'm very happy that you were our guests today. Thanks a lot. And Patrick Bruder and Klaas Nebo, they are still in the chat, so you can get in touch with them directly, and you can see here the contact details. So just get in touch if you feel now inspired to start to get your feet wet. And I think that this was quite clear today, that there are different approaches really, and there is a possibility to use the data that is already there, or even artificial intelligence approaches, depending on your needs and your ideas too. And the time is now really to start. So I hope that you got some valuable information and have now some ideas how you would like to start that conversation about condition monitoring. If you want to learn a little bit more about Lenze's solutions and the digital solutions, check out our YouTube channel and subscribe to it so you won't miss any further webcasts. Next week, by the way, we will talk about virtual commissioning and about simulation. Bye-bye.